What up, Bears fans? Harrison Graham here, back with another episode of Chicago Bears Now. And on today's show, we got a draft meetings tracker as the Bears have already met with several prospects at the 2023 NFL Combine. You'll also hear a couple of clips from some of those prospects as fellow Chat Sports host Tom Downey and producer Sam Brown are in Indianapolis. So we'll kind of take a look at some of the guys they've met with so far. There's probably other players they have met with, but we haven't heard from those players yet at the Combine. So this is kind of what we know at this point in time. Let's start with Tyree Wilson, the edge out of Texas Tech. And listen, this guy has been moving up draft boards since the end of the college football season. I think teams are very intrigued by his skill set. He actually mentioned that he's met with the Bears twice already. He had already met with them before the Combine as well. And at 6'6", 275 pounds, he could be the ideal fit coming off the edge and a guy that could kick inside on passing downs as well in this 4-3 scheme. We got a chance to get some video and audio from the Combine on Tyree Wilson, and he confirmed his meeting with the Bears. Here's what he had to say about the franchise.
So, yes, I have met with the Bears. I mean, it was real good. This is my second time meeting with the Bears. Great energy. Love the coaches. Love the GM. I mean, they got great coaches, and, I'd be excited to play for the Bears.
Can we first just acknowledge how big this dude is? Like, can we get a microphone extender? The guy's going to throw his back out, leaning over like this, having to talk into the mic. I mean, he is a massive human being, and he's not confident either, or he doesn't lack confidence either. He said he told the Bears brass, Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, probably Ian Cunningham and some others, that he's ready to be the face of the franchise and that he'd, quote, bring the rest of the draft class along with him. In other words, be the leader for this new group of rookies, which I love that mindset. I love that confidence, and I think this is significant because Matt Eberflus has talked about we want guys who love football, and that is something Tyree Wilson talked about, that he loves playing the game of football, which a lot of these guys like playing, but I think you got to have that next level gear if you're going to be great in the NFL, and I think this kid has it. He was productive the last 2 years at Texas Tech with 27.5 tackles for loss, 14 sacks. Again, the size and explosiveness is just very intriguing, and I think the Bears will be very intrigued by it. I mentioned Eberflus said they want players who love football. Well, Tyree Wilson loves football. He's a grinder. He's that type of guy. He's ready to be the face of a franchise. Those are his words, and I like that mindset for a guy who might go top 5 in this NFL draft. He's been rising up boards very, very quickly. Now, we're going to have a ton of Bears draft coverage over the next couple of months, so if you don't want to miss any of it, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that sub button as we continue to plug out videos. We'll probably have another video later today as well, so stay tuned for that. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. All right, let's talk about the next player that the Bears have met with. That is Will Anderson Jr. as defensive linemen and linebackers met with the media today in Indianapolis, and Anderson talked about a lot of things, obviously confirming his meeting with the Bears, but he said he looks up to Von Miller, Nick Bosa, Khalil Mack. He was also asked about facing Justin Fields in the national championship game a couple of years ago. Says he loves his game, thinks he's a great player, and I think that was a bit of a theme today, is that players really like Justin Fields. Here's what I found, or I took away most, this quote right here. Anderson said, Bears are, quote, onto something special. Said he could feel the energy, the good vibes from what this team is trying to build. And I think that's significant when prospects talk highly about teams, because I always believe this just in anything in life. When you're getting interviewed, I always approach it of you're interviewing the person interviewing you as well. You want to learn about them also. Like, Will Anderson's going to have plenty of teams interested. Which teams does he like? And it seems like he certainly likes what the Bears are trying to do. And obviously we've talked about Will Anderson quite a bit on this show, and for a good reason. He's a guy the Bears could draft. He's a very productive player. They need edge rushers. He was great at Alabama with 59 tackles for loss and 34.5 sacks in 39 career games. I expect him to go top 5 in this draft, and he's certainly a player the Bears could draft, whether they stay at number 1 or trade down a couple of spots. Now, who would you rather have? Who do you think is the better fit for the Chicago Bears? Type TW for Tyree Wilson, WA for Will Anderson Jr. Pen comment on today's show. Let us know which you would rather have on the Chicago Bears. Now, who has the edge? It's interesting. I've kind of broken this down into 4 categories. Production, definitely Will Anderson Jr., especially considering he played in the SEC. He was just phenomenal. Size and strength, I'd give that edge to Tyree Wilson. Being 6'6", 275, Will Anderson, kind of in that 6'3", 240 range, more of a smaller edge guy. Better speed, though. Big game experience, Anderson. You're playing at Bama every game. Has a ton on the line. Texas Tech, not so much. Better fit on paper. Not necessarily just better fit, but in terms of 4-3 edge rusher, you typically want your ends to be 250 plus, 260, even bigger if you can. He's 275. Will Anderson, it's possible he weighs in at under 240. I mean, he's a lighter edge rusher. There's no doubt about it. Now, I would still lean Anderson. I think he's the safer pick, but Wilson's athleticism and just measurables is very intriguing and fascinating. I get Trayvon Walker vibes, but more production out of Tyree Wilson in terms of he's just the athletic freak of this draft. And if those traits can translate, then he could be a special player in the NFL. So we'll see where the Bears are leaning. But the fact they've met with him twice already, I think he's a guy they are very, very interested in. Now, something I'm interested in, and I think you guys should be as well, is athletic greens. And I've been taking my scoop of AG1 for over a month now every single day, and I've really never felt better. I get out of bed, I get my AG1, boom, the energy is there to attack my day. It's a long football season, and the offseason, our coverage doesn't slow down, so you need that energy to kind of get through these work days. But AG1 has helped me have that energy and bring you these videos and get a workout in and still have plenty of energy left when I get home at night to do what I need to get done at home. Not only is AG1 helping me get back into good habits, I've already seen better digestion as well. Improving my gut health is something I've wanted to work on for a while, and now that's happening with a simple scoop every single day. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I just mix one small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing in the morning. Boom, done. That easy. I also like that it costs less than $3 per day. Pretty good deal if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients, a win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That is athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. Link in the comments and to the description. Got to use our link to get that free vitamin D supply and the free travel packs as well. Promote your gut health, support your immunity, boost your energy with AG1 by Athletic Greens. Before we get to our next combine visit for the Bears, let's kind of address the news of the day, and it directly impacts the Bears, of course. That is Jalen Carter, as he has been issued an arrest warrant, actually 2 misdemeanor arrest warrants for reckless driving and racing. And before we kind of get to the nuts and bolts of this, reports have dropped that Carter has left the NFL Combine. This story kind of blew up like 30 minutes before he was scheduled to speak with reporters in Indianapolis. Obviously, that did not happen, so he has indeed left Indy. And Jalen Carter, really right before we filmed here, just released a statement. Here's what he had to say. Quote, this morning I received a telephone call from the Athens, Georgia Police Department informing me that 2 misdemeanor warrants have been issued against me for reckless driving and racing. Numerous media reports also have circulated this morning containing inaccurate information concerning the tragic events of January 15th, 2023. It is my intention to return to Athens to answer the misdemeanor charges against me and to make certain that the complete and accurate truth is presented. There is no question in my mind that when all the facts are known, that I will be fully exonerated of any criminal wrongdoing. So, couple things here. Number one, it's obviously not a good look. And if this was just racing and reckless driving in itself, it's like, okay, dumb college kid making a mistake. Like that happens. The problem is this may have led to the death of a teammate because, according to initial reports here, that he was racing and a teammate and someone else in another car, and that car had a single car crash, and 2 people fatally died, including one of his teammates. So it's not like he just was driving 100 miles an hour down the freeway and got pulled over or something like that. This directly or indirectly, we don't know completely, could have been connected to a fatal car crash. So that's not ideal, obviously. Now Carter's obviously going to defend himself there, and we need to let the legal process play out and find out more information. But my point is, this would not be nearly as big of a story if it was just he was out late driving 100 miles an hour down the freeway. That's a different deal. So got to let this play out. Obviously, he has left Indy. Look, this could definitely plummet his draft stock a bit. I still think he'll get drafted. I still think he's probably a first-round pick, if I had to guess. They are misdemeanor charges, at least as of now. But not great timing for Carter as he's getting prepared for the biggest couple of months of his life. And the Bears, obviously, have been linked to him a lot as they need defensive line help. So we'll see what Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus approaches to him. Do they take him off their board? Are they still interested? Time will tell, but certainly the news of the day in Indianapolis. Now, are you still open to drafting Jalen Carter? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know down in the comment section down below. I think we got to get more information, but this certainly throws a wrench into things. Back to some meetings here as we go with our draft tracker. Bryan Bresee, the Clemson defensive tackle, maybe he becomes an option for Chicago if Jalen Carter is no longer one. Well, again, we'll have to wait and see. Bresee's a great athlete. He's strong. He's physical. He moves well. He was a huge recruit coming out of high school a few years ago. But it just has never really translated to heavy production. I mean, in 10 games, he only had 15 total tackles. Did have 3.5 sacks, 5.5 tackles for loss, but you would expect a little bit more, right, for a player of this magnitude with how big of a recruit he was. And, a lot of people consider him a lock first-round pick. Now, he's been sliding a little bit in recent mock drafts, but that production is lacking. I mean, there's no doubt about that when it comes to Bryan Bresee. And, look, some defensive tackles, it's not their job to clean up every play. It's their job to kind of take on blockers and let other people eat. But if you're going to be a special top 10, top 15 type of player, you got to make some plays as well. BJ Ojulari, the edge rusher out of LSU, the younger brother of Azeez Ojulari. The Bears have met with him as well, according to Mr. Ojulari here. I like BJ Ojulari. He's a little undersized, but not as small as like Nolan Smith or something like that. I think he's like 245 maybe. 58 tackles, 8.5 TFLs, 5.5 sacks this year for LSU. Had 7 sacks last year. I think he's a pretty solid player. I'll be curious to see where he goes. Does he sneak into round 1? Does he fall to the second round? I think he's late round 1, early day 2 for BJ Ojulari, but he could be a potential trade down option for Chicago. Now, which defensive line position is a bigger priority? Is it edge or is it defensive tackle? Here's what you guys think down in the comment section below. Edge or DT, let me know. Well, another defensive tackle is Zacch Pickens, who the Bears have met with, the defensive tackle out of South Carolina. And kind of a funny note here, and we'll probably throw this up as a YouTube short, is Pickens said that the Bears started their meeting with him by having him play putt-putt in darts, maybe testing his competitiveness. These teams do different things to kind of gauge what type of players they're dealing with here. I think Pickens could be a day 2 target for Chicago as a defensive tackle. I like his game in the middle rounds. I don't know if he's second round, maybe more like third, but he could be another defensive tackle option also. And then KJ Henry, the edge out of Clemson. Miles Murphy's getting a lot of attention. And by the way, note on Murphy, he said the Bears will meet with him later in the week. Henry has had an informal meeting with Chicago and will reportedly meet again with them. I think he actually said that they will. But he also is pretty good friends with Justin Fields. And here's KJ Henry at the Combine talking about the Bears quarterback.
100%. Modern day Michael Vick. You know what I'm saying? That dude is a real deal. Always, watch the sport. Anybody that I've come into contact with through this process that I've been able to, share a friendship with. So definitely watching, supporting him from afar. Obviously, he did some great things this year, and I think the Bears are lucky to have him for sure. Yeah.
I think my big takeaway, and this is kind of a vibe I caught when I was out in Phoenix too, and Arizona for the Super Bowl, is that I think players want to play with Justin Fields. He has the respect of players around the league. All these analysts and these, people who are covering the NFL and stuff, they're like, I don't know if Justin Fields is the guy. Well, players in the league respect him. I mean, Micah Parsons was raving about the guy, and here's KJ Henry talking about how good of a player he is. So maybe he's a second, third, fourth round option for Chicago. I don't think Henry's going round 1, but maybe he's a depth type of edge piece for the Bears. There you go. More draft visits expected. That's kind of where we're at right now. I know a couple other players I think are supposed to meet with the Bears. Lucas Van Ness, I think, is going to meet with Chicago. Obviously, we'll hear from receivers, offensive linemen as well later in the week. So make sure you guys subscribe. We'll have more sound bites and more coverage of what's happening at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. I'm Harrison Graham. We'll see you next time here on Chicago Bears Now.